I'd like to call this regular council meeting to order. Councillor Dubanow, would you be good enough to provide the land acknowledgement, please?
Thank you, Worship. We acknowledge that the land upon which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Adirondack, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe people. We are the beneficiaries of ancient agreements such as the dish with one spoon between the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee, who agreed to share the abundance of the land through peace, friendship, and mutual respect. The two-row wampum, by which the Haudenosaunee welcomed the settlers and agreed to share the land in mutual respect, and the Treaty of Niagara, considered a fundamental document by First Nations in all future relations with and treaties with the British. We recognize that we have a responsibility to be stewards of the land in cooperation and collaboration with the Indigenous people, not only for one generation, but for all generations to come. We understand that we have an obligation to learn the lessons of our history, educate ourselves about the experiences of the Indigenous people, and seek opportunities to heal the wounds that will result in reconciliation with our Indigenous sisters and brothers. Many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people live and work in Fort Erie. We stand with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship on the lands on which we live. We have the good fortune to live in a land of such abundance, diversity, and beauty. Let's be vigilant in protecting Turtle Island.
Thank you very much. Would you all please rise for the invocation?
We meet to serve our community and endeavor to be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Let us be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, so that in our deliberations we may display imagination, wisdom, and courage, and the will to do our work for the good of all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, the roll call, please.
Your Worship, all members of council are present.
Thank you. There is no addendum this evening, just a few brief announcements. We have a number of proclamations that we'll be dealing with through our consent agenda, and so the public is aware of those. The first is the proclamation for Mountain View's Lemonade Day, which is going to be June the 13th, 2026. There's also a Seniors Month and a flag raising. That is June. We're also going to be raising a flag for the Colonel Butler Niagara branch. That's for the United Empire Loyalist flag, and that is on June the 19th. And we have the National Accessibility Week, May the 31st to June the 6th. And after the fact, we're acknowledging National Paramedic Week, which was the week that just ended. A couple of other announcements. There's a Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee barbecue at Ferndale Park on Saturday, May the 30th. That runs from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. On May the 31st, the Battle of Ridgeway commemoration ceremony takes place at the Battle of Ridgeway Park. That's at 11 a.m. on Sunday. And on June the 6th, the Decoration Day ceremony at the Fort Erie Legion forming up there is at 1:30 on June the 6th. We have, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Councillor Dubanow.
Yes, Your Worship. With respect to Bylaw 40-2026, that is the item, related to the authorization, to authorize applications for the cancellation, reduction, and refund of taxes levied for the years 2024, 2025, and 2026. I have a pecuniary interest on that as one of the, I'm a member of the board of directors of the nonprofit organization that owns one of the properties.
Any others? Councillor Noyes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Redekop. I have a pecuniary conflict with public meeting 10.1, 24 Jarvis Street, and 10.2 PPS-2526, a proposed official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment recommendation report for 240 Jarvis Street, and that I am a member of the congregation.
Anyone else? There is an upcoming open house on Wednesday, May the 27th, here at the atrium in the Town Hall. That's with respect to a zoning bylaw amendment for 5289 Gilmore Road. And so that's here at the Town Hall. Regional Councillors Report. Good evening, Councillor Encina.
Good evening, Mayor Redekop, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. At the Regional Council, Leilani Lee Yates, the CAO Secretary Treasurer of the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, gave a presentation regarding the consolidation of conservation authorities. The original plan put forward by the province was to propose 7 regional conservation authorities. However, the final number has been increased to 9. The NPCA will be combined with Credit Valley, Hamilton, and Halton to create what is to be potentially named Western Lake Ontario Regional Conservation Authority. In the fall of 2025, the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency was established to be the lead agency for the amalgamation and to support conservation authorities during the transition. This summer, a transition team from the NPCA will develop and submit plans on the transformation. Representing our NPCA will be Leilani Lee Yates, along with Regional Councillor and Chair of the NPCA, Rob Foster. It is estimated that the process will be completed by the winter of 2027, with board members being appointed from the 4 areas that were amalgamated. The NPCA has been funded through the region, along with other funds coming from the City of Hamilton and Haldimand. The new funding structure will also be developed and details have yet to be worked out. It was pointed out that all current MOUs and agreements will continue in the new system, along with permit applications, hearings, and legal proceedings, and provincial offense officers' appointments will carry forward. It was learned that there will be no job losses with the transition to the regional conservation authorities. The provincial government has set up guidelines as the transformation takes place. Included in the list that the conservation authorities will not be able to do is to buy, to buy or sell off lands in their charge. And organizational structures have to remain incomplete. Niagara Parks 1776 Forum at the Old Fort Erie in Revolutionary Era, the forum for that continues with the next presentation scheduled for Sunday, June 7th at 2 o'clock at the Old Fort. The topic of discussion is the dress culture of the era. And then on Saturday, June 27th at 2 p.m., the next presentation will explore how relationships with the Indigenous population changed throughout the American Revolution. And for more information and for tickets, I would suggest you go to Niagara Parks website and you can search under events. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Encina. Any questions of Councillor Encina? Councillor Noyes.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. Thank you, Councillor Encina. In regards to Stevensville Road, my regular question, last time I asked you about if there was any remedial work planned. I know that the work for the total rejuvenation of the road urbanization is not going to happen until perhaps 2028. What are we going to do in the meantime when the road's in such horrible condition?
Through you, Mayor Redekop, I have been asking that same question. I have asked for a response from the Director of Transportation. They're anticipating patching right now. That is kind of, I don't believe that's the way to go. I know they made, they took some leeway when it came to Highway 3 in Port Colborne. And that's what I'm bringing forward and saying, hey, it was a necessity, it had to be done, so why can't we at least do something like that? At least do a, I believe it's called, just tear it up and put it back down.
Some
Is that a technical?
That's the technical term.
well, I'll be happy to help you tear it down.
I will.
Okay, in regards to the design of Stevensville Road, at the lights, has there been any discussion in regards to a left-hand turn lane at the lights on Stevensville Road? Because that is definitely necessary.
Through you, Mayor Redekop. I have not seen the plan. I believe is 98% done, the detailed plan. I will ask to see that, and I will bring your concerns to them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other members of council? If not, then we're going to go to presentations and delegations. And the first presentation or delegation is Mr. Jeff Hoover on behalf of Canadian Niagara Power. And while you're coming down, Mr. Hoover, Ms. Sal, we've got some seats in the front row if you'd like to take advantage of that. You're good standing? Okay. Good evening.
Hello.
You're going to raise that, I presume?
There's a button there, Jeff, to raise the podium. Right there. Just raise that to the height you want.
Okay. Will our slides come up? Or
Yep, and then just you can use this to tab through them, the keys right there.
Just to go. Okay. Thank you.
That raises higher if you wish. There you
Is that
go.
good?
Not so high that we can't see you.
All right. Thank you. We're here to talk today from Canadian Niagara Power about storm preparedness, system reliability, CMPI Fort Erie system investments, operating and maintenance programs, customer communication and enhancements. Storm preparedness. CMPI meets with the town of Fort Erie in anticipation of major weather events, enhance communications with the town of Fort Erie and authorities, the MCO, fire department, etc. CMP is improving communication, outage information, and restoration times, increased system hardening, our vegetation management system upgrades, aligning our construction standards with weather patterns. This next slide, system reliability, shows for our company as a whole, CMP, which includes Fort Erie, Port Colborne, and EOP, but I will give you some numbers. I've split out on my sheet here the Fort Erie. So customers affected for 24 was 28,674. Customer hours was 36,885 in 24. Customers affected in 25 was 71,535, and customer hours 55,496. That's without major events or loss of supply. The increase from 24 to 25 was mainly due because of our extensive rebuild program that we did inside of Fort Erie, where we had multiple outages during our conversion program. Just to speak about a few of the programs that are coming up inside the Fort Erie area. So with this project here, the first one, our Station 19, our Ridgeway reconfiguration. Through the years 28 through 31, 4-year program, we're going to build some more 34.5 distribution lines down through the Crystal Beach area, back up in through to Stevensville, with a new substation in the Crystal Beach area. That'll split the Station 19 load in Ridgeway and have a more reliable system inside of the area. As part of that, while we do that project, we will also be doing the Point Abno section, which is the last piece on Erie Road there that comes out from Crystal Beach down into the Point area, or Point Abno area, in a 3-year project through 31. We're continuing with our Stevensville. I think that I probably spoke last time I was here when we started Stevensville. Stevensville, we've built a new substation there, and we are currently throughout 27 and 28, and this year itself, converting that area over to a more reliable system. Through the last 10 or 15 years, when we did all that conversion work in the north end and the south end of Fort Erie, we removed our Station 12, that's right there by the QEW. So we're reestablishing in 27 2 new ties at the Taylor Avenue, I believe, with an overhead, and 2 underground circuits by Rich Products. Also, for a system investment, that we're going to be doing what's called a switching automation program on our 34.5 system. That's taking all of our normal tie switches that we have and automating them. By automating them, we can have quicker restoration times inside the Fort Erie area. Operating and maintenance programs. We have our vegetation management program, our substation inspection and maintenance, line inspection and maintenance programs. Right now, currently, we're in this year, Fort Erie Zone 2, which is the area in blue where we'll be doing all of the vegetation management this year. We rotate on a 3-year cycle. Before Christine comes up, I have one more thing to speak about. Sorry. As discussed with the town of Fort Erie staff earlier this year, Canadian Niagara Power Incorporated is filing our cost of service application with the Ontario Energy Board, which we just did in May of this year. The application will be available online on the Ontario Energy Board's website. We conducted a survey in early 2026. More than 9% of our customer base responded. Most customers responded favorably to the survey content and projects that CNPI presented. And I'll flip it over to Christine now. Unless there's any questions for me.
Why don't we let Christine make her comments and then the two of you can come up.
I just wanted to take a couple minutes just to talk about our customer communications. We're always looking for ways to improve the customer experience. So I wanted to highlight 2 initiatives. One is our live outage map, and our other is our enhanced customer website. So hopefully most of you have seen this. We have a live outage map now available. You could go to the URL that's on the screen, or you can access it through our CN Power website. It'll give outage locations, so when the real time when the outages are happening, how many customers are affected, and we've started adding statuses and updates so that you can see when restoration times are estimated to be. I would also encourage customers that if there is a widespread outage, to follow us on Facebook and X at CMP Power for regular updates during outages as well, because we try to put more specific information on there for customers. So we've really worked at enhancing that level of communication. In addition, we've also enhanced our customer website. We tried to put a number of areas on the homepage that are of interest to the customer, such as comparing price plans, electrical safety information. There's always going to be current information there. Right now, we are focusing on staying 3 meters clear from overhead power lines, given everybody's outside in the nice weather now, so that's important. It links right to the ESA as well, so there's a lot of great information there. We have financial support resources on our website for our customers, such as the Ontario Electricity Support Program, the Low Income Energy Assistance Program, and also there's information on the partnership that we have with the IESO, which are the Save on Energy program. So we would encourage customers to look there, small businesses, large businesses, residential customers. There's programs for everybody. You could also go to www.saveonenergy.ca or call our office, and we have an EDSM marketing coordinator that could walk customers through what the programs are available. And as always, we like to highlight our support in our community, and recently we gave a donation to hospice care in our community. So always looking for ways to get more information out to the customers. So those are a couple of the initiatives that I wanted to focus on. Are there any questions for Jeff or I?
Thank you very much. Councillor Noyes.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. Hi, Christine, you and I talked not that long ago, and I'm just wondering, when you guys do an improvement, particularly I'm going to talk about the marina and the Niagara Parks, they needed more lines, more power, et cetera. Was there any consultation with the neighbors in the area that have some concerns about the number of poles? Is there any ever consultation with the...
Well, as Jeff mentioned, we just did a survey for our cost of service application, and that was a consultation asking about different projects that we have, on the docket for the next 5 years. For that project in particular, I'm not sure, Jeff.
So for that one specifically, we did work with the Niagara Parks Commission, and we did address all the concerns of the neighbors on that side of Cairns Crescent and made sure that we aren't building any new overhead lines in front of those residences.
Okay, they were worried about the increased number of poles.
It's not going to be out that way. It's going to stop pretty much where it stops now, south of those 4 residences that are on the north side of the Cairns Crescent.
Okay, glad to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your assistance on that. Any other members of council? I did want to ask about capacity for industry. Part of the upgrades Is that something in Canadian Niagara Power's mind in terms of some opportunities we have in terms of attracting businesses, sometimes need higher amount of electricity for their production?
Yes, currently Canadian Niagara Power is working with ISO and Hydro One. You know, some of the projects that are coming down through, trying to get more transmission and increasing the amount of power that's required inside of, I'll say, both Fort Erie and Port Colborne, with the amount of new customers and larger customers that are entertained inside of town. But yes, we're currently working with all those and the large customers also.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming out and bringing this update. Okay, so our next presentation is Dan Geniak, Greater Fort Erie Soccer Club. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Well, and you?
Great, thank you. So good evening, everybody, and thanks for having us here tonight. I'd like to start by thanking town staff, council, Mayor Redekop, Dan and Adam from our indoor site project team, and the board of Greater Fort Erie Youth Soccer Club, also Far Post, for helping us to get to this point. This has been truly a collaborative effort, and we're grateful for your time and consideration. The last time we stood before you was about 15 years ago, and we were advocating for the lights at Optimus Park. And thanks to your support and a Trillium grant, that project has been a success. Since then, we've seen real measurable growth. Our adult soccer team has increased by 300%. That's 2 teams to 6 teams. We've expanded our travel program by 100%. We're now able to field older interlock teams, allowing house league recreational players to interact with other clubs in the evening so that we can give more time to those kids and allow them to play. We've extended our playing season because of improved field conditions. That project just didn't add lights and irrigation, it expanded opportunity, participation, and community engagement. Today, we're here to build on that success. Each year, our board sets 2 or 3 priority initiatives beyond the day-to-day operation of running our house league and our travel soccer. Over the past 5 to 8 years, one of our top priorities has been to strengthen our travel program to become a club that attracts athletes rather than losing them to neighboring communities. But we continue to face the same challenges. Tryouts are short, and because of the timing, we struggle with participation. We have delayed spring seasons due to weather. We have frequent game and practice cancellations, growing impacts from poor air quality, and the limited training opportunities in critical development months. These aren't just inconveniences, they directly impact our player development, retention, and our ability to compete. Over the last 3 years, we began to really explore solutions, specifically the idea of an indoor sports dome. We met with other local service clubs and sports organizations, and we found out something that was very clear. This is not a soccer problem. Across the community, multiple sports lack adequate indoor training facilities. Youth programs are being limited or forced elsewhere. Families are traveling out of towns for opportunities. We're not just trying to solve this for soccer. We're addressing a community-wide recreational gap. The vision, we try to imagine a year-round indoor turf facility, a place where youth can train regardless of weather, where multiple sports can share in one space, where adults can stay active in the winter, where tournaments and events bring visitors and economic activity into the community. This dome isn't just a field, it's a community hub. What I'm going to do, we have a presentation, and I'm going to allow Jay from Far Post and Dan to come up and hopefully give you some of the nuts and bolts. I just want to paint a little picture for you before we go through it. But this is what we are proposing. We are proposing to you. I just want to give you a little bit on the why.
Presentation.
It should be there.
There we go. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Mayor. In our proposal, what we've done is, in our conversations with a lot of council and a lot of community, we've sort of tried to address any and all concerns that have come up. So some of the first ones were clearly the size of the facility. We're not talking, this isn't a gym. It is a very large facility. So we try to put it in a position that would make sense. So your first slide you see here is a representation from our partners at Far Post that sort of gives the sight line from the road over on Ridge Road over to where the dome itself would be. So as you notice, and I mean, it's probably not that great, this is probably off a little bit, but as you notice, it's not very noticeable from the road directly in front of it. On the south side of Ridge Road, on the south side of it, yes, you will see it. There's no doubt about it. If you can go to the next slide.
I got the button there.
Oh, there you go. Is there a button? There we go. This is physical dimensions that we've built into it. So you'll see the actual dome, and on the front of the dome, you'll see we've actually built a field house. Inside of that field house, we'll have bathrooms, change rooms, a small meeting room, and a facility for an office space. So if there's any questions about that after, we're happy to answer them, but that gives you the physical dimensions of everything inside, outside, and everything around it. And this is what it looks like from the east, west, south elevation. Interior, exterior elevations, dome entry. So this is the entry from the field house into the dome itself. This doesn't include the actual field house, I don't believe, Jay. No. And then structural, what's underneath it, what has to be built to be able to hold it up. So project starts. So we're in the pre-construction meetings. We've already had some of those, but this is where we're at sequencing wise now. So when we get to the end of this, talking to council and the mayor and all the staff, we need to kind of have an understanding if we get an idea or what we need to do to get to the next step to move to this piece. Financial overview. So this was the second source of information, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Jay go over the financial interview. So you guys have a little history. Far Post actually does these across the country and actually across North America. And they have representational financials, and we've done a sort of basis on a town the size of Fort Erie, what we have as far as population, what we can handle price-wise. And Jay's put that all into this presentation so that it's easy to digest for everybody.
Great. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so understanding facilities kind of from a financial perspective, fundamentally they're quite simple businesses. It is renting field time. The key thing to keep in mind, these are high margin, mostly fixed cost structure businesses. We looked at Fort Erie and through conversations with Dan and the club and a lot of the due diligence that had been conducted already previously, based on the lack of existing facilities right now and the demand from all of the clubs around, we kind of built up what some of these numbers might look like. Assuming, from year one all the way to year 5 and what that growth represents. So with domes, a strong majority of your revenue does come from the winter time period, obviously. More of the ancillary revenue opportunities come from your summer rentals. Again, this is when inclement weather is happening, late night games, if there's other fields, outdoor fields that aren't available, additional capacity, so on and so forth. Summer camps and clinics. And then you get into in-venue advertising. So if you've been in a facility and you see the banners going around indoors from corporate sponsors, that's an additional source of revenue. And then, of course, naming rights. So that kind of gives you the full picture of, again, what the revenue base of these facilities are. We set out a couple 4 key things that make these facilities successful. So prime time and off-peak pricing. Understanding when your prime time is and fixing your rates for what the demand is in the local neighborhood, and then also having off-peak pricing. So really maximizing your ability to use the dome, whether it's through the day during the week, later at night in the weekdays, or on the weekend as well. Anchor tenants. So obviously, Greater Fort Erie Youth Soccer Club here is the anchor tenant of the facility. Why that's super important, obviously, is because you want to guarantee that from the first day that you open the dome, you have enough user base and enough utilization from your anchor club that you're able to break even operationally. Third-party sales emphasis. So again, maximizing your revenue opportunities in these domes, for multi-sport purposes, corporate bookings, birthday parties, visiting tournaments, so on and so forth. And similar to what has been said already, this is far more than a soccer facility. This is a multi-sport hub. So, in the facilities that, my family, having been in this business for about 40 years, I'd say on average, you're looking at about 60%, 60 to 65% of the actual facility programming comes from soccer. The remaining comes from being able to tap into the other groups in the community. So it's touch football, it's rugby, it's lacrosse, it's cricket, it's, everything that you can bring into the facility just improves the chances of the facility being successful and sustainable. So to give you a quick overview on the cost side, again, fundamentally very simple facilities and simple businesses. It is the beauty of an air-supported structure. Primarily, the two key areas that we look at with operating costs is utilities and staffing. That represents roughly over a third probably of your actual total yearly operating costs. Management fees if you bring in a third-party operator to help run the facility for you. And then from the other standard ones there, insurance, cleaning, snow and waste removal, advertising, marketing, and general office expenses. So hopefully that gives the council a quick snapshot of how these facilities operate and the kind of numbers that are involved. Again, working with the team here, through, one of the key things, as was said earlier, the most important thing when it comes to building a dome facility in a community is making sure that you're right-sizing that facility for the community. So you don't want to build one too big where it can't be supported. And additionally, you want to be able to build one with growth in mind. So, looking at kind of the bigger picture, again, year 1 through to year 5, operates 7 days a week, 6 hours of rental days per day on the weekdays, 16 total hours on the weekend. Again, this kind of gives the full pro forma, looking at about $1.2 million in revenue in the first year. Again, growing with, as your field utilization, more clubs are starting to use it, more leagues are starting to be developed off the back of having more indoor space. The revenue starts to come along with it. Kind of a higher level note here, we've tried to be conservative with all of our assumptions. We really think that's important. Cost inflation is built in there. We've left a few of the other kind of what we would call growth levers off. So again, you're looking at about $50,000 a year in ancillary, being in-venue advertising, looking at the naming rights. That tends to be on the low end for a facility this size. Summer camps and clinics, again, we've tried to be conservative with estimating what that can bring in. Suffice to say that, again, through the discussions with the team here, and understanding the bigger picture in the town and what the demand actually represents, we feel quite comfortable with our projections at 85% utilization and then growing year on year after that. And again, just as a quick analysis that we always like to look at, of course, funding the facility, that's part of why we're here today, but part of a lot of the ongoing deliberations and consultations happening right now. But if we were to kind of look at kind of what our base case assumption is of the amount of debt you would need to take out or a loan to build this facility, again, running against kind of the operating assumptions that we have, we believe that there's sufficient demand and sufficient room for a facility to not only break even, but thrive in the neighborhood. So again, on the break even, you're looking at a 38 to 40% utilization you need to hit just to break your operation expenses. And again, we're targeting about 85. And again, I want to stress to the council that the financing assumptions there, those are illustrative. They are not representative of an executed term sheet or this is what it represents now. But again, being a little more aggressive in our assumptions, we want to kind of show the council the numbers here and what we're working with, and that there's a lot of room to be able to operate this facility, not only from a break-even perspective, but a profitable perspective. So I'll pass it off.
So in retrospect, we wanted to make sure we were prepared. The soccer club has done a lot of work, as most of you know, speaking to a lot of service clubs in the area and trying to gauge an interest on what it is. So, Greater Fort Erie Baseball has asked us for a certain amount of time. The FIA people have asked us for a certain amount of time. Other clubs have asked us for a certain amount of time. Just in general, building up to making sure that we're going to be successful. We don't want to put a facility out there that's going to cost money, nor do we want town or the council to think that it's going to come back on them in any way, shape, or form. We don't want to build something that you guys think is going to be an albatross that you have to deal with 2 years from now because we walked away. And then we also started reaching out to places like the King Club, Advancing Crystal Beach, the Beachcombers, some of the other local area clubs that may have some use or perhaps some programming that they might want to run out of that. And all the feedback we've received is positive in relation to that. Following this meeting, we do plan on booking a public event and inviting anybody in the neighborhood in that public event, or anybody who has any interest one way or the other, to come and join us. Please express their concerns. If there's any concerns we can address in relation to it, we will. So what we're really asking for today from the town is, we've been at this for a while. We've been back and forth with planning. We've been back and forth with some council members. We're looking for a confirmation on location so we can move forward on the pre-construction idea. We have some land servicing and stuff that has to be investigated if we're going to this location, and all of that takes time. And to get to the point where these guys can put up a facility, the HVAC systems are custom. The time to be able to build the actual structure and put the structure in place and get all site planning obviously takes time. We're also looking to see what level. Yeah.
So you've been at this for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually you're allowed 10.
Oh,
I'm going to ask council just to provide a resolution to extend this for another couple of minutes.
sure.
Councillor Dubanow, Councillor Lewis, all in favor? Okay, please continue.
Okay. So, and we're almost done. So level of participation from the town. So any and all financial considerations the town would have, we would welcome. We are prepared to go right now without any money from the town of Fort Erie or any of the taxpayers of Fort Erie. So we've done our due diligence. We can make this work without it. We do need to be able to make those rates, make these numbers. We do need the town to guarantee any loans we happen to go get if we go to the bank. That just makes the rate viable, it makes it manageable. And then any considerations for zoning and bylaw amendments or any of that kind of stuff. If the town, if council, if the mayor, if all of you decided you wanted to be more of a part of this, we're not going to object. So that's it for us. If you guys have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Thank you. Councillor Lewis and then Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for the presentation, as well as for keeping me in the loop as you've been talking with some of the other community partners and working towards this proposal. I just have a question, because I know where you're proposing to build this, but I didn't really hear it called out in the slide. There was one picture that kind of showed the resident and then how it would look from there, but we are talking about the Crystal Ridge Center.
Yes, behind the library.
The north part of the property behind the Crystal Ridge Library.
Correct.
Correct? Okay. So I wanted to clarify that for anyone in the room or listening that may not know. And I've long believed that the Crystal Ridge Community Center campus, from a recreational and community point of view, needs to have more access, and it's an underutilized piece of property that has a lot of potential. So I can understand why you're looking at it, and I think also a facility like this would certainly benefit the two BIA areas as opposed to some other spots that might not be as close to other commercial. I want to ask a couple of questions, and I'll be fairly brief because I'm sure other colleagues have questions too. But in terms of the property itself, you've mentioned in there that you have a reserve fund, so at the end of a certain period in time, there would be a reserve fund that would pay for the replacement of the
Correct.
dome? Okay, and the reason I ask, I just don't want the municipality to get into a position where something sounds like a great idea now,
Yeah.
but 15 years down the road when we're looking to replace it, we have a few of those already, and
Yeah,
it's
so
somewhat
if you look
problematic.
at our financial piece in there, depending on what our loan-to-value ratios are, and on a very conservative amount, we have quite a large reserve fund that we held for both replacement and any other infrastructure changes we want to make.
Okay, and thank you for that. Have you made a formal proposal to the town of Fort Erie? I know you're here tonight, you've met with some of us individually over the last few years, but have you made a formal
proposal to the municipality with those finances and information?
No, we wanted to get through this first.
Okay.
So
I
we-
would encourage you to do that because I think that's where certainly we're going to be looking for some advice from a staff perspective. The other question I had was with respect to other uses. You mentioned that there was other uses, other sports that could be utilized in a proposal like this. Would there be any opportunity to open up the facility for, I'll use for an example, seniors walking or?
100%.
So there is opportunity
Yep.
for other community involvement. And I just want to see here, your current proposal is utilizing existing town land. Does it also include any rent in your business proposal to the town? Or
It does not as of yet.
Yep.
We would have to negotiate a lease agreement.
Okay, and that was just one other question. And the other one that I had was the naming rights. Because this would be a facility that would be kind of a public-private partnership, not-for-profit with the municipality, in naming something that is on municipal property, would your group be open to, for instance, I'll use the Fort Erie Tennis Club as the example. It used to be the Fort Erie Tennis Club. It's now operated by the town of Fort Erie as the town of Fort Erie Tennis Courts. Hopefully someday maybe it returns to also home of the Fort Erie Tennis Club or someone else to offer youth programs. But are you at all comfortable with, if we went down this journey, making it very much Fort Erie's insert here soccer dome?
1,000%.
Perfect. And then the last question that I had was with respect to I'm going to hold, I might come back. I had a couple of scribbles. Now I have to find what the last one is. But thank you very much for the presentation and do look forward to staff review of the presentation.
Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Your Worship. One of the questions that I think is quite germane to this, and I know some of the answers from conversations with other members of the club in the past. What is the membership? So, Dan, you mentioned growth, you mentioned percentages, you mentioned the number of adult teams. What are we talking about in terms of actual participation, whether it's adults, children, youth?
So our soccer club alone, just Fort Erie Soccer, has 1,100 members.
So
Give or take.
300 up from the last time I heard, so that's...
Yeah. We're constantly in a growth spurt. We have, in conversation with Far Post, when we really dug down into the numbers and we looked at other municipalities of similar size, the minute that goes, just our regular programming will jump 20%. And that doesn't include baseball, whose programming is skyrocketing right now, and it doesn't include lacrosse, and it doesn't include what I think is a fledgling flag football leagues that are popping up and have sort of reached out and said, if you guys are going to do this, then can we have space to do that? So.
Okay, so your proposal would sort of have some of those...
Yes.
Incremental or potential numbers as well.
Yes.
With respect to the, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
Jay.
Hi. One of the questions I had, you when you were doing your presentation, you talked about your doing this and you're doing that. Who is the your? Is it the Fort Erie Soccer Club? Who is the manager of this?
Yeah, that's the Fort Erie Soccer Club.
Okay.
Like that.
Which
no,
is a not-for-profit
Correct.
incorporated organization. Okay. I'm just asking a lot of these questions so that the public can understand who's actually, who we're actually talking to.
Yes.
So, okay. And then I noticed the amortization of the loan is 10 years.
Yep.
What is the lifespan, the anticipated lifespan? I either didn't hear it or whatever.
Yep. So a dome can run about 20 years before you need to actually replace the liner of the membrane. So from a dome itself, before you'd have to do any maintenance to the membrane of the dome, it's about 20 years. Turf lasts about 12 to 13.
Okay. And then the other one is you mentioned having a session with neighbors and that. Would you be open to actually having something put up on Let's Talk Fort Erie, which is our website, with a questionnaire? So we do a lot of this with our parks planning, a number of other activities where, in fact, the public can respond. I'm thinking even maybe having a table at the Ridgeway Farmers Market, something like that, to get some feedback and actually have documentation about.
Yeah, we would more than welcome that, because the amount of work we've done inside the community, I think we could get an overwhelming response, and there will be some that will oppose, there's no doubt. But I think we could create an overwhelming response for what you're asking for there. I would welcome it.
Okay. Well, and the thing is, it will be, I think there will be some impacts. So I'm concerned because it's a 75,000 square foot facility with significant increase, not a bad thing, increase in usage and vehicular access and all of that kind of thing. So I'm just adding that one in. And this is a bit of a wild card, but in terms of looking at the campus and partnering, it sounds as though you are looking potentially at a vision that would improve the existing, or potentially optimize the facilities that exist on the Crystal Ridge campus at the present time. I mean, obviously not doing it, but just working with us.
We want to, I mean, the dome itself from our perspective is only one piece of what a larger picture and sort of an envious overall soccer club would look like. If I look at, the ability to help and be part of repurposing some of the rest of the facility, then do we have space to increase gym size and have a small training center or any of that kind of stuff? That sort of helps all those community clubs as well, especially on their higher end levels. So yeah, definitely, to me, this is just step one in a much larger picture, if it could come to fruition. If it doesn't, it's still quite a fabulous little piece, but.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Noyes.
Well, thank you, Mayor Redekop. Most of my questions have been asked and answered, but one thing, just because we live in Fort Erie, so do you guys, the snow load and the weather, has that been taken into consideration when you're planning the dome?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about the infrastructure to the facility?
Infrastructure itself is very minimal. You have essentially one inflation HVAC unit, a backup unit as well. You have your clubhouse, you have your airlock, and then you have the actual dome itself. So from an infrastructure on-ground piece, it's quite minimal.
Well, I'm thinking more of the infrastructure underneath the ground.
Oh, yeah, under site
Like water
draining
and
services,
waste.
yes, that's fully baked in as well.
And the road going to it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so everybody knows, planning does have the full, with the fire routes, exits, locations of everything. Town planning already has all of those details. We haven't done a formal thing. They've asked us to do this first and then come back to them with the formal proposal. But what they also wanted to do is get some buy-in on the location as well.
Anything further, Councillor Noyes?
Nothing further, thank you.
Councillor Flagg.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just running some numbers here. Want to make sure that I'm in the ballpark. Roughly 62 hours a week is what you're budgeting for rental. Brings us to around $350 an hour.
About $250 an hour.
250 is where we were at.
Yeah, you'll see on the other page with the full 5-year breakout, kind of works from first principles down. So $250 an hour starting your average rental rate, and then times your 62 hours times.
Okay, I'll run those numbers in a minute. But and you have what you consider a concrete tenant then in the soccer club. So we're looking at around $600K a year from the soccer club for rental in this facility. Is that as the ground tenant. I'm trying to figure out how all this works.
Yeah, so when you're talking about the total numbers, yes, a lot would be taken up by Fort Erie Soccer. Remember, tournaments, leagues, everything generate money to be able to contribute to those hours. So yes, it's 600,000 in total dollars paid, and I think that's a little higher than our expected number.
I actually thought it was higher. I thought we were going to generate closer to 7.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, is that the soccer club will generate 700K?
Yep.
And that goes towards the running of this facility?
Correct.
And that's, okay, all right, I think that at least answers that. I'll run those numbers again at 250, thanks.
Anyone else? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate you coming out and sharing this vision that you have.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Okay, the next delegation is Sheldon Samlaw with Community Engagement and Development Manager, and Aaron Davidson and Cody Day from Community Living Fort Erie. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for having us here today. As Mayor Wayne Redekop said, I'm Sheldon Samlaw, and I am representing Community Living Fort Erie. I'm here with 2 leaders from Community Living Fort Erie. For folks who don't know, we support people with intellectual and developmental disabilities within the Fort Erie area, and May is the month, Community Living Month. So Fort Erie this month has supported us by raising the flag. Mayor Redekop was there on May 1st when we did that. On May 7th, the Peace Bridge was lit up in acknowledgement of Community Living Month. So green and blue were the colors that you would have seen when driving by on that day. And then again today, we are able to speak on our experiences from our organization, and we're very grateful that you have us here today. So on my right, I've got Aaron Davidson, and on my left, we've got Cody Day. If I could ask Cody's testimonial video to be played first, just a couple of words of how community living has impacted his life, and then afterwards we'll have Aaron share a bit about her experience as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cody, and I just want to tell you my story. I've been struggling all my life, and I moved from Windsor to Welland just to get out of there because there's a danger zone and I just couldn't deal with it. Too much stress, too much.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Cody, and I just want to tell you my story. I've been struggling all my life, and I moved from Windsor to Welland just to get out of there because there's a danger zone and I just couldn't deal with it. Too much stress, too much people kept bugging me for stuff. My staff here are nice, they treat me nice, and they respect me, and they help me a lot with my helping me clean my place, keep it nice, and sometimes that's what I love about them. They take me out like on stuff like the events and all that. They turn my life around. So I want people to be just like me, that to get help, to get like housing just like me, so they can get help, so they can get help, be have a home like me. That I was struggling. I was in a group old shelter home and all that stuff, and just my staff helped me, got my place, and I love them because they're always nice. Nikki's she's like a mom to me. She's been there for me whenever I need her. She's been there when I say I need something for my back. She's always been there for me, and she's been helping me, and that's why I love her as like a mom. She's been there for me, and I appreciate her because she's always been there for me, and I love her. I have my life back because of them. I'm grateful that I have people that help me. They help me set boundaries, and they help me from danger. I'm learning, and I can't wait to get my new life back. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy my story.
Are you talking here?
thank you guys for listening to it. And I'm just, yeah, it's been hard for me the past 2 weeks. So I'm glad for them. So that's my speech.
Thank you very much, Cody.
Dear Mayor Redekop and members of council, hello, my name is Aaron Davidson, and I have been supported by Community Living Fort Erie for almost 2 years. Before moving to Fort Erie, I lived in a children's group home where I was very unhappy and could not wait to turn 18 to move out. I felt like I had too many roles and didn't have control over my life or the decisions that were made for me. Fort Erie has now been my home for almost 2 years now, and I am very happy here and with the support I receive. Since moving to Fort Erie, I have been supported to reach many of my goals. I volunteer at Fort Erie Community Preschool once a week and at the Wellows twice a week, where I get to give back to my community and help people, which I really like. I was also supported to train for and complete in the 2025 Summer Games through the Special Olympics, where I won several events. I won gold in the 200-meter race in javelin, and I won silver in the running long jump event. I also curl, play basketball, and baseball. Sports are extremely important to me, so it was crucial that when I moved to Fort Erie, I would be supported with this. Community Living Fort Erie has supported me in a way that works for me. I direct my support and receive as much or as little help as I need for each task. They have supported me to build independence in ways that I always imagined for myself. I have made great connections with people in the industry, and they are always helping me to work on my wants and needs. Another cool thing about the industry is that through the passport program, I've been able to go and see some of my favorite sports team play live, as well as some great music acts and concerts. Community Living Fort Erie has helped me to see how vulnerable I am to this community and encouraged me to set goals for myself because they believe in me and what I am capable of. I am proud of what I have been able to do since moving to Fort Erie, and I am excited to see what comes next as I continue to get to know my community. Thank you for allowing me to share with you today.
Thank you very much, Aaron, and thank you, Sheldon, for all of the lives that your organization has touched in our community and the impact it's had on our community. Are there any members of council that have any questions? If not, thank you very much for coming out, and good luck in the future.
Thank you.
So now we're at the point in our agenda where we're going to be recognizing some superlative athletes who have been performing for and on behalf of Fort Erie. I believe this is the first occasion that the Council of the Town of Fort Erie has ever recognized an inductee into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm talking about Alan Dixon, or Sparkles as he is known. He's been playing sledge hockey since he was a teen. He currently plays for the Niagara Thunderblades para ice hockey team, and he's trained by Mary Miles. He's a physically demanding player, and he's one of these individuals who does not quit. My understanding is that he has an unwavering commitment to succeed. He puts in extra hours on and off the ice. He's always prioritizing the team, and his leadership inspires everyone around him. He recently received, in January, the ESSO Medal for Most Dedicated Player for leading by example. And this medal reads, "This award is a symbol of dedication, honoring the one player who most exemplifies unwavering commitment to their team both on and off the ice." And then he's quoted, and he goes into the usual hockey cliches. I play the same because I love it. I play for the game. I play for fun, but I don't play to win awards. And this isn't a medal that he received just for participation. This is something that you have to earn, and he's been an essential part of the Thunderblades hockey team, and as I said, he has been recently inducted into Canada's Hockey Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Alan. We have a certificate that we'd like to give to you. And I'd ask Councillor Lewis and Councillor Noyes to help. Congratulations, Alan. Can we turn you around? Yes. You can do anything. Take a little space.
I've seen him out there.
Yeah, you've been in his way. I've been behind him.
Let's turn this around. And that's your medal.
I'll have your paper for you.
Fantastic.
Should keep looking down, Alan.
It's much more handsome that
Congratulations.
way. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have beg your pardon? Yeah, okay. But I'm not going to do that. Amelia, you've been waiting for a long time. We have a resolution on our agenda that would request the Hockey Hall of Fame to put in facilities that would make it accessible to someone like Alan, because turns out that the Hockey Hall of Fame isn't accessible. Hard to believe, but that's the case. So would you mind if we did that before I make the presentation to you? Thank you very much, Joan. So we'll move to item 16.1, Councillor Christensen, that's your resolution.
Thank you, Your Worship. And this is in the context, the Hockey Hall of Fame, most of it, as Alan said, is accessible, except the Hall of the Exhibits, where his large medal is. You have to get up 3 steps if you want your picture taken in front of your medal. So that's what this is related to. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McDermott. Whereas the Hockey Hall of Fame, located in Toronto, Ontario, is a museum dedicated to the history of ice hockey and features exhibits on players, teams, National Hockey League records, memorabilia, and trophies, including the Stanley Cup. And whereas the Esso Medals exhibit within the Hockey Hall of Fame recognizes outstanding achievements among amateur athletes in hockey and para sledge hockey. And whereas Alan Dixon, a resident of the town of Fort Erie and a member of the Niagara Thunderblades para hockey team, was awarded the Esso Medal for dedication in 2025. And whereas Mr. Dixon was nominated and accepted for inclusion in the Esso Medals exhibit at the Hockey Hall of Fame, where his medal is now permanently displayed. And whereas it has been identified that with the exception of the exhibit area in question, the Hockey Hall of Fame is accessible in accordance with the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, AODA, and whereas access to the Esso Medals exhibit requires visitors to ascend steps in order to closely view the display or take photographs, and whereas barriers to accessibility may prevent individuals with mobility devices from independently accessing the exhibit, and whereas ensuring equitable access to exhibits aligns with the principles of accessibility and inclusion for all visitors, including athletes whose achievements are recognized therein. And whereas alternative and adaptable accessibility solutions are available and have been implemented in other jurisdictions and facilities, and whereas the Town of Fort Erie Accessibility Advisory Committee has reviewed this matter and supports the intent of improving accessibility to the exhibit, now therefore be it resolved that Council respectfully requests that the Hockey Hall of Fame take the necessary steps to ensure that the Esso Medals exhibit is fully accessible to all visitors, particularly those with disabilities, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
So I don't want to burst your folks' bubble, but we haven't passed the resolution yet. It's still up for debate. Anyone have any comments? Okay, now we're going to vote. All those in favor? Now you can clap. Thank you very much, Councillor Christensen. Okay, now we're going to go back to the agenda, and most of you know that Fort Erie International Academy has a superlative sports program, particularly in basketball, both the boys and the girls, or men's and women's, as in hockey. This evening we have the privilege of recognizing one women's athlete and one male athlete, each of whom won national awards. Amelia Sow is here. She's originally from Quebec. She's the tallest woman in the room, and rightly so. She won this year's Women's National Preparatory Basketball Association Player of the Year Award. And one of her long-term objectives is to make Team Canada. And from what I've read and heard, that's something that's going to happen. Her next goal, after she completes her education, would be to enter the Women's National Basketball Association. And one might think that that's a lofty dream, which it is, but it could very well be possible. Amelia has been receiving excellent coaching at FIA. Her coach, Handel Kip, she credits with creating a family atmosphere for the team. And all of you who play sports know that it's not just about the individual, it's about the team. And the players that focus on the team are those who typically succeed the most. Amelia is a hardworking, confident individual. She'll be entering grade 12 at FIA in September. She's been averaging 22 points per game during this past basketball season. She's credited with having a high basketball IQ, and she is currently ranked. She won the MVP at the Basketball Without Borders competition in El Salvador in 2025, and she's ranked among the top 30 prospects by ESPN, the television station. She comes by her skill and talent honestly because both of her parents were pro basketball players in Europe, and she will be competing in the off-season with youth programs Become One Canada, Elite, and Under Armour basketball circuit in the U.S. So, Councillor Flagg, would you assist me in making a presentation to Amelia Sow, please? Congratulations. Congratulations, Amelia.
Thank you.
That's your certificate. Do you want to get on this side? Yeah. Joan, you can shake Amelia's hand from side. 10 to 40. Congratulations. 10 to 40. 10 to 40. We all know who the basketball player is. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. The final presentation is for Eli Jolan of the Fort Erie International Academy. He was recognized as the Player of the Year in Canada for the National Preparatory Association, which is considered the top high school basketball league in the country. He isn't here this evening. His certificate will be received by Mike Clarkson on behalf of Eli. He's a 6'7" shooting guard, named the most improved player in the grind session, which is considered the premier prep school league in the United States. He's a first-team All-Star for the National Preparatory Association and the Ontario Scholastic Basketball Association. He has high character, which is his major upside, and he's definitely considered to be an NBA prospect. One might think that that is unlikely, but the reality is that there have been players from Fort Erie International Academy who have been drafted into the NBA. So it's a top-ranked program. Eli is also from Quebec. He's an excellent student. He's being coached by one of the best staffs in high school in Canada, and primarily that's because they have a very good culture. The coach, the Falcons coach, Kemi Esse, has done an excellent job with these players, and he's indicated that Eli sets a standard for this program, and Eli encapsulates everything about FIA's culture. So I want to congratulate Eli. He's the third player in 5 years to win a national award from the NPA, and that says a lot about the sports program. So I'm going to present that certificate to you, Mike, on behalf of Eli, and you'll pass it on to him. Extend our congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
We're starting a golf program. What's your handicap now?
Being on the golf course.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
What did Mark Twain say? Golf destroys a pleasant walk. Destroys a pleasant walk in the park. Okay, so that, get back to my agenda. Public meetings. what we've all been waiting for. So we have a public meeting for an official plan and zoning bylaw amendments for 240 Jarvis Street. This is under the Planning Act. And the process is council will hear some background information from a staff member. In this case, it's the staff member is Miles Banfield. And council may ask questions at that point. After we're finished with that, the proponent of the application may address council or the proponent's agent, again, subject to questions by members of council. Thereafter, we'll ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the application other than the applicant, and again, subject to questioning by council. Then we'll ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in opposition or who has any questions about the application. And then I will ask Mr. Patton if there is anyone in the digital waiting room at any point that wishes to address council, either for or against. And then finally, I'll go to the clerk and ask the clerk if we've received any late communications regarding the matter that isn't referred to in our report. So with that, I would ask Mr. Banfield to start the public meeting process. Good evening.
Good evening. Just going to wait for the presentation to come up. All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and members of the public in attendance. My name is Miles Banfield, and I'm a junior development planner for the town of Fort Erie. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide a recommendation to council regarding a proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment for 240 Jarvis Street. The applicant is proposing an official plan amendment to redesignate the subject land from low-density residential to an institutional special policy area that supports and defines a community service facility. The zoning bylaw amendment proposes to rezone the subject land from the current site-specific residential 238 zone to a site-specific institutional zone that recognizes the existing lot and building location and permits and defines a community service facility. Next slide, please. Oh. So here we have the development timeline or the development application process. The application was deemed complete on March 6, 2026. Notification of today's May 25th public meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act by placing a public notice sign on the subject lands on May 5th, 2026, and mailing a notice of public meeting to all properties within 120 meters of the subject lands. The proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendments application is subject to a 120-day processing and review timeline that begins the day the application is deemed complete and will stop the day council makes a decision on the application. Right now, we're at the public meeting and recommendation report stage, and we are on day 80 of the 120-day timeline. Subject land shown in yellow is an interior lot located within the urban boundary of the Bridgeburg neighborhood. It's approximately 215 meters west of the intersection of Central Avenue and Jarvis Street. Subject land has an area of 541.34 square meters with 14.64 meters of frontage along Jarvis Street and currently contains a low-density mixed-use building that has most recently operated as a professional business office. The subject land also contains an accessory structure in the rear yard that is used for storage and is proposed to be removed. The surrounding land uses to the north are residential with single detached dwellings. To the east is also residential with single detached dwellings. To the south is the Jarvis Street right-of-way and residential with single detached dwellings. And to the west is residential with single detached dwellings. So some background, the proposed amendments would facilitate adaptive reuse of the existing building on 240 Jarvis Street with no changes to the building footprint. The proposal would relocate and expand the services and activities that are currently being offered at the Embrace Center, which is currently located at 14 Jarvis Street and shown in the green outline. The current services offered at 14 Jarvis Street include, but are not limited to, the provision of clothing, groceries and personal care items, advocacy, counseling, social service assistance, and book studies. In addition, the following new services that would be proposed at 240 Jarvis Street include, but are not limited to, drumming circles, paint nights, haircuts, life skills, and a range of different classes. A detailed list and general descriptions of the proposed uses can be found in Section C of the Planning Justification Report that was submitted in support of the application. It should be noted that many of the proposed uses would be limited to specific time blocks on certain days of the week. Subject lands, once again shown in yellow, are approximately 140 meters west of the core mixed-use area in Bridgeburg. A general approximation of the core mixed-use area is shown in red, with the western extent of this area marked by the red arrow. This map also shows nearby municipal parking lots colored in gray. There is one parking lot near the intersection of Jarvis Street and Central Avenue, about 270 meters from the subject land, and another along Courtright Street, about 420 meters from the subject lands, which is also near Central Avenue as well. This map also shows nearby institutional land uses in purple. Knox Presbyterian Church is shown to the north, and Bethel Pentecostal Academy or Assembly is shown to the south. These images show some nearby commercial uses along Jarvis Street, approximately 140 meters east of the subject land. On the far left, we have a laundromat, followed by a dental care office and a board game cafe. These images show some of the institutional land uses in the Bridgeburg Secondary Plan area. On the left, we have an image of Knox Presbyterian Church, and on the right, we have Bethel Pentecostal Assembly. It should be noted that these institutional uses are within low-density residential areas and provide community services such as community lunches and youth services. These images show the nearby municipal parking lots. The parking lot on the left is located at the intersection of Jarvis Street and Central Avenue, and the parking lot on the right is located along Courtright Street. The image on the left shows a northern view of the subject lands facing the existing building, and the image on the right shows a southern view from the subject lands facing Jarvis Street. The image on the left shows an eastern view of the subject lands, also along Jarvis Street, and the image on the right shows a western view along Jarvis Street as well. And note the available parking that is along Jarvis Street. Here we have a site plan and floor plan of the existing building on the subject land. The existing building contains several rooms, including office spaces, meeting rooms, a laundry room, and kitchen areas. A fence that surrounds the building is also shown on the site plan. The subject land is designated as low-density residential, as shown here in the Bridgeburg Secondary Plan. Lands designated as low-density residential are shown in yellow. Lands designated as core mixed use and commercial are shown in red, and lands designated as institutional are shown in purple. The proposed official plan amendment would redesignate the subject land from low-density residential to an institutional special policy area that supports and defines a community service facility. Staff are satisfied that an institutional designation does not conflict with the low-density residential designation. Institutional designations are not uncommon in low-density residential areas, as shown in the land use schedule, and institutional uses such as churches often provide similar services to those proposed by the community service facility. For similar reasons, staff is also satisfied that the proposed community service facility is appropriate for the inclusion within the institutional land use designation. It should be noted that the new official plan that is now in force and effect as of May 20th would permit the proposed use under the newly designated community area policies. However, this application was submitted and subsequently reviewed under the policies of the previous official plan. The subject lands are currently zoned as a site-specific residential 238, which currently permits single-detached dwellings and professional and business offices. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment would rezone the subject land to a site-specific institutional zone that recognizes the existing lot and building location and permits and defines a community service facility. The proposed site-specific institutional zone would also permit no parking spaces. Institutional zones permit a number of uses, including churches, museums, municipal offices, libraries, museums, and community centers, among others. The residential zones are shown in yellow, and the core mixed-use zones are shown in orange. Nearby parking lots are also shown on this map as well. So this slide here shows the permitted uses of the existing residential 238 zone and the permitted uses of the institutional zone. Again, the zoning bylaw amendment would add community service facility to the list of permitted uses. Staff are of the opinion that the addition of community service facility as a permitted use is supportable, as the proposed activities of the community service facility, such as Bibles and book studies, youth groups, etc., align with the permitted uses in the institutional zone, and the uses supported on lands that are designated as institutional. This slide shows the parking requirements and also the proposed definition for a community service facility. Staff are in support of the parking, as there is municipal parking lots along Jarvis Street and Courtright Street that are both near the intersection of Central Avenue and could accommodate potential overflow. On-street parking is also available in the area, including along Jarvis Street and Courtright Street. The existing building on the subject land has also not operated as a residential use in recent years, and no concerns with respect to parking availability for the prior non-residential uses are known to staff. The planning justification report has also concluded that most of the users do not rely on private vehicles for travel to the site, further reducing the need for parking. The proposed definition of community service facility reflects the definition of public service facility in the 2025 official plan and generally aligns with the definition of an institutional use in the zoning bylaw. Here we have an image of the subject land and the existing building with the zoning deficiencies identified. These include the existing minimum lot frontage, lot area, lot coverage, landscaped area, and front and interior side yard setbacks. As the subject land has not historically functioned as a non-residential use, staff are of the opinion that these existing conditions have achieved a degree of compatibility that is satisfactory. Two open house meetings were held regarding this application. The first open house was held on the subject land at 240 Jarvis Street on October 2nd, 2025. This was held prior to the formal submission of the applications. All property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands were notified of the information open house by a notice mailed to the applicant on September 23rd, 2025. This meeting was attended by town staff, the agent, the applicant, and approximately 65 members of the public attended. 2 members of the public expressed concerns at this open house. However, since both individuals have provided letters in support of the application to the town. The comments made in support emphasize the need for the proposed facility and that the proposed new location of the facility would better suit the needs of those who attend the Embrace Center. Once the formal applications were deemed complete, a subsequent open house was held on March 24th, 2025. This open house was attended by town staff, the agent, the applicant, and approximately 55 members of the public. No written comments were received following this open house. However, all verbal comments were in support of the application. The verbal comments made in support expressed similar sentiments to those at the first open house. Once again, they emphasized the need for the proposed facility and that the proposed new location would better suit the needs of those who attend the Embrace Center. The following studies were submitted in support of the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendments. Please note that the full list of proposed uses can be found in Section C of the Planning Justification Report. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banfield. That was very comprehensive. Are there any members of council that have any questions? So, do you know if the current facility, the east end of Jarvis Street, whether anyone takes advantage of the parking on Jarvis Street parking lot that you referenced or the Courtright parking lot?
I don't know for certain.
The reason I ask that is because it seems to me an awfully long distance, and whether in justifying this change of use, we should really be considering that the Courtright parking lot is likely, in view of the parking that's available on Jarvis Street. And there is quite a bit of parking in the vicinity of the facility. Does us considering Courtright Street as part of why staff would support this, is that an issue that we should be concerned about if there are future applications, maybe not for an institution, but something else, by looking at parking that's over a quarter mile away?
In my opinion, no.
Okay, that's because you look like you're in great shape and you walk a lot.
Thank you.
But my experience has been that humans walk as little as possible and try to park their cars close as they can to where they're going. So I'm just flagging that because I want to make sure that I'm on record as saying that I have concern about that aspect of this. The rest of the report was excellent, and the explanations that you provided, I think, was excellent as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Banfield, we're going to let you give way to either the applicant or the applicant's agent if they wish to address us. Looks like both. Good evening, Reverend Thomas.
Good
Mr.
evening,
White.
Mayor Redekop. So, can I start?
You may.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Redekop, council, staff, members of the public, most of whom are from St. John Stevensville United Church or the Embrace Center. So I want to first start by thanking you for the opportunity to offer this presentation and recognizing that you've already gone a little long, longer than you would have anticipated. I'm going to keep this fairly short. Really? Okay.
Everybody looked at their watch to see what that means.
So I actually want to begin by thanking both Lee White, our consultant through this process, and town staff for the diligence, but also the pointing out pieces that we really needed to be thinking about. And I'm going to address your parking concern in a second. But so I want to first say that congratulations to the town and to town staff, particularly CAO, who I've had a number of conversations with, on the fact that the official plan has been ratified by the province. I think that the official plan is very forward-looking. I think it seeks to address some of the real key concerns in the community, one of which is addressed by this application, and that is by moving services that meet the needs of a particular constituency into the community where that need has been flagged and identified, which is what the Embrace Center attempts to do. As many of you may know, the Embrace Center opened in 2018 at 14 Jarvis Street. We thought that we were in a pretty good location, which we were for a while, and we had to close down for a bit during COVID because people couldn't come into a drop-in center, which made it kind of difficult. But once we reopened, we saw our numbers escalate and escalate quickly. We have a number of ministries and programs that Mr. Banfield identified. The one that gets the most attention is our lunch program that happens on a Tuesday afternoon. And when we reopened after COVID, we had 35 people who were coming in for lunch. 35, and some were picking up food for family members, and so we would have been looking at feeding between 50 and 55. Over the last little while, we have seen those numbers skyrocket to an average of between 70 and 80. We have gone up to 85 or 86, I think, was the highest we've met. And we know that those who are coming in to pick up the food on those days are picking up for people, probably about 130 to 140 people, including children and spouses. So, we found that on a Tuesday particularly, but at other times through the week, the space that we have just was too small. And so we started looking for a larger space. We found 240 Jarvis Street. 240 offers a tremendous opportunity for us. It also gave us some challenges, some of which have been identified, the fact that we needed a ZBA and that we needed an OPA. As I noted, the OPA, the need for the amendment to the official plan, I think is negated by the new official plan, except that I know we started the process under the old under the old plan, but we still need that zoning bylaw amendment. So that's where we are. What I can say is that at the Embrace Center, we strive to welcome all members of the community, regardless of any of the barriers that may be presented to them in any way, shape, or form. We provide a safe haven for those who are dealing with unknown and sometimes unbelievable challenges in their lives. We offer a safe refuge. We attempt to be a welcoming and affirming community space where all are welcome regardless of creed, color, sexual orientation, religious denomination, religious affiliation. But having said that, we use as our founding principles or as our founding statements the words found in Micah 6 and Matthew 25. We seek to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, give drink to the thirsty. We also seek to the pursuit of a equitable and just society, and so we advocate on behalf of those who are facing homelessness, food insecurity, etc. And so we hope to be able to continue doing that within the town of Fort Erie, and we hope to be able to be doing that from 240 Jarvis Street.
And you'll be pleased to hear that my presentation will be even shorter. Frankly, because we've done a significant amount of consultation as part of this process, and having had a couple of open houses, and to the point where we've got a favorable recommendation from staff, and I want to personally and professionally thank Miles Banfield and Devin Morton for their interactive and engagement in helping us to get to this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I don't know what to say.
And my granddaughter's telling me that I've gone too long already, so.
I would say that that's probably one of the shortest speeches you've ever given. But I don't know, these folks would hear you every Sunday, and I'm sure they could comment as well. Any members of council have any questions? There being none, that's a very good sign. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of the application other than the proponent? Mr. Patton, is there anyone in the digital waiting room?
Your Worship, there's nobody in the waiting room.
Okay. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to the application or who has questions they'd like to ask council with respect to the application? And Mr. Patton, there's still no one in the digital waiting room?
Still nobody.
Okay. Clerk, have we received any late communications relative to this application that aren't part of our record?
No additional communication was received.
Okay, then I'm going to declare this public meeting closed, and we're then going to move to consideration of report PBBS 25-2026. Councillor Flagg, you have the resolution, I believe?
I do, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott, the council approves the amendment to the town's consolidated 2021 official plan as detailed in report PBBS 25-2026 for land located at 240 Jarvis Street, and further that council approves the amendment to the town's zoning bylaw 12990 as amended as detailed in report PBBS 25-2026 for land located at 240 Jarvis Street.
Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Dubanow.
Yeah, Your Worship, I'll just, a brief comment with respect to time. I just want to comment that I think it is wonderful that we live in a community that has individuals who put in place programs like this, services like this, and we had a quick meeting. No one came out in opposition of this. In light of some of the challenges that you see else happening elsewhere, that's actually, in my opinion, a very positive sign at the consideration and the caring we have in our community for those that we share this earth with and this town with. So that was my only comment. I'm wholeheartedly supporting this. I think it's good to see this happen, and those are my comments, Your Worship.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was delighted to see this proposal come forward and the recommendation. I've been privileged to participate in the Fort Erie Social Services Network that is managed by our Manager of Corporate and Community Initiatives. I've been involved in various ways with a number of food insecurity issues. And to repeat, really, because I think we need to say it, what Councillor Dubanow said, this community provides love, respect, and kindness, and this shows it. And thank you very much for all of you who have participated in this. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Anyone else? I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the recommendation? None opposed. That is carried. I note that Councillor Noyes declared a conflict. Congratulations, you folks. We're looking forward to your new facility opening and providing greater service, and I'm confident there'll be no parking issues whatsoever. I'm just thinking that most people are not going to park in the Courtright parking lot and walk all the way up to your. That's not going to happen. But I don't think it's an issue to begin with. So, and you folks are, if you wish to leave at this stage, you may. You're more than welcome to stay and listen to the rest of what we do. But aside from Rick Gorm, most of you would just as soon be home. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go to the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone wishes removed from the consent agenda? If not, Councillor Noyes, you have the resolution for the recommendations in the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott that the council approves the consent agenda as recommended.
Are there any questions or comments arising out of the reports or minutes in the consent agenda? I would just say, Clerk, the minutes of the Accessibility Advisory Committee made reference to the park with problems. It wasn't Douglas Park, it was Douglastown Park. The minutes say Douglas Park, but it's Douglastown. Yeah, AC Douglas Park. So you may want to make a note of that. Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, one. All those in favor of the items in the consent agenda? None opposed. That is carried. That then takes us to new business and inquiries. Whoops, wait a second. Did I miss something? No reports. So any new business or inquiries by members of council? Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is very brief. On your desks, you'll find the annual report, 2025 annual report for the Fort Erie Public Library. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of yourselves and to members of the public who pay for this library. And I want to draw your attention to page 5, where there has been a 20% increase in circulation this year and a 19% increase in members. This is it demonstrates the love of learning and the availability of a flexible access to all kinds of information and various forms of media, print, digital, video, really impact our community. And it doesn't even get into the 18,000 program attendees that the library has. So I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention.
Thank you very much, Councillor Christensen. Any other new business or inquiries? Councillor Noyes.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. I think we probably all have heard that the Meridian Credit Union is closing in October, and I'm just wondering if council can weigh in on that and encourage them to not close and perhaps seek an alternative, which means not to close. This particular credit union has been, even before it was the Meridian, it was the credit union, and it has decades and decades and decades of existing in Stevensville. And I think all of us know that we probably have the majority of seniors in Stevensville with the leisure homes there. I think there's 721 seniors, I think, just in the seniors' home alone. So I'm hoping that somehow we can encourage them to change their minds and to leave the credit union open, or at least come up with some more local alternatives.
Councillor Noyes, the CAO is back at the end of this week, and he and I will follow up with respect to this. This is an unfortunate trend where institutions are closing in smaller branches. This is the only financial institution in Stevensville. There's one now in Ridgeway. There's none in Crystal Beach, and they've been consolidating in other areas. Fort Erie still has a number, but we'll certainly follow up on that. And if you have any additional information, please pass that on to us. Thank you. Anything else before we move on to the closed session? Councillor Dubanow, you have the resolution for us to move into closed session?
I do, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott. That council does now go into closed session at 7:45 p.m. to consider the following. 14.1, closed meeting minutes of May 11th, 2026. 14.2, Senior Citizens Advisory Committee appointment pursuant to Section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act 2001. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 14.3, Community Healthcare Services Committee appointment pursuant to Section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act 2001. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 14.4, Committee of Adjustment appointments pursuant to Section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act 2001. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including a municipal or local board employees. And 14.5, Confidential Report LLS 07-2026, Point Abano Lighthouse, Inspection Review and Legal Analysis pursuant to Section 239(2)F of the Municipal Act 2001, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is unanimous. We're off to closed session. Okay, we're back in the council chamber. Councillor Lewis, you have the resolution for us to rise and reconvene from closed session.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott. The council does now rise and reconvene from closed session at 8:09 p.m. with report 14.1 that council approves the closed session minutes of May 11th, 2026. 14.2 that council appoint Brian Wright to the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee for the term ending November the 14th, 2026, or until his successor is appointed. 14.3 that council appoint Dr. Shalini Sharma to the Community Health Care Services Committee for the position of local physician for the term ending November the 14th, 2026, or until her successor is appointed. 14.4 that council appoint Terry Stevenson and Aaron Lane to the Committee of Adjustment for the term ending November the 14th, 2026, or until their successor are appointed. And 14.5 that council receive confidential report LLS 072026 Point Abano Lighthouse inspection, review, and legal analysis, and authorize the town solicitor to proceed as directed in closed session.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. We have already dealt with Councillor Christensen's motion. Are there any notices of motion? Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to do a notice of motion regarding the parking lot on Erie Road in between Erie and Cambridge, following direction and conversation with the Crystal Beach BIA. The notice of motion would be to reduce the monthly overnight parking passes from $125 per month to $50 per month. And that would be returnable at the, I don't remember what date that meeting would be.
That would be June 22nd.
Thank you.
Any other notices of motion? If not, that takes us to consideration of bylaws. Bylaw 40-2026 is going to have to be dealt with separately due to the pecuniary interest declared by Councillor Dubanow. And are there any other bylaws anyone wishes removed from the package? If not, Councillor Flagg, you have first and second reading?
I do, Your Worship. Moved by myself, second by Councillor McDermott, that bylaw package containing 37-2026 to amend traffic bylaw 2000-89 as amended, speed limits Point Abano Road and Holloway Bay Road. 38-2026 to appoint Caleb Storing as Deputy Chief Building Official for the Town of Fort Erie and repeal bylaw 71-2020. 39-2026 to appoint Luciano Chica as Chief Building Official for the Town of Fort Erie and repeal bylaws 81-214 and 2016-093 and 41-2026 to amend zoning bylaw 12990 as amended 825 Garrison Road are given first and second reading.
All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. That bylaw package as amended is on the floor for any questions or comments. So I have a question with respect to bylaw 37, which is the one that changes the speed limit on Point Abano Road and Holloway Bay Road around the recreation trail. There's no actual reference to 50 kilometers in the bylaw, and that's because the general rule is, unless it's specified and it's in the rural area, it's 50 kilometers. Mr. Peasel, you have to do more than shake your head. You have to say yes for the record.
Yes, Your Worship. It's
Thank
50 unless otherwise posted.
Thank you. Okay. And, okay, if there are no other questions then, I'll go to third and final reading, and that's Councillor McDermott.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Christensen, that bylaws 37-2026 to 39-2026 inclusive and 41-2026 are given third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and clerk under the corporate seal.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. So, Councillor Flagg, would you do bylaw 40-2026 first and second reading?
Absolutely. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McDermott, that 2026 to authorize applications for the cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes levied for the years 2024, 2025, and 2026 are given first and second reading.
All those in favor? None opposed? That bylaw then is on the floor for any questions or comments. So, Mr. Jansen, I see that only the town of Fort Erie is referred to in terms of those reductions. Does the term have to, is all of the tax relief allocated to the town? That's the cancellation reduction?
Yes. No, the original report would have itemized it in Appendix 1 by both upper tier and lower tier.
So this is the part?
And the recommendation amount and the amount in this is the lower tier, the town portion.
Right, okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? Then Councillor McDermott, could you do third and final reading for bylaw 40, 2026? Just use the same format you had for the others.
By Councillor Christensen, that bylaw 40-2026 are given third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and clerk under the corporate seal.
Any further questions or comments? If none, all those in favor? That is carried. That then takes us to scheduling of meetings. Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Sorry.
Don't we have third?
See, it's a good thing you guys are here. I knew a mayor once who thought an ideal council meeting would be just the mayor. But you folks prove every week that you're absolutely necessary. Okay, Councillor Noyes, first and second reading for the confirmatory bylaw.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott that bylaw number 42-2026 to confirm the action of council at its council and committee meeting held May 11th, 2026, and its regular council meeting held May 25th, 2026 is given first and second reading.
All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Councillor Lewis, third and final reading, please.
And this is for bylaw 42, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I just have a few in front of me. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott that bylaw 42, 2026 is given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and the clerk under the corporate seal.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. I happen to notice, Councillor McDermott, that you seconded every resolution this evening. And that means with you getting all those assists and then actually presenting some resolutions yourself, you're the first star for this evening. Okay. All right. Could I now go to scheduling of meetings? Yes. Okay. Any meetings? Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Your Worship. On Wednesday, June the 3rd at 10 a.m., the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee will meet in Committee Room 1, and at 5:30 p.m. on June the 3rd, the Ridgeway BIA will meet at the Crystal Ridge Library.
So that's a week from Wednesday.
This Wednesday is one. The regular meeting is a week from Wednesday.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have an extraordinary meeting.
Okay. Perfect. Anyone else? Councillor Noyes.
Yes, tomorrow, the SPCA board is meeting at 5:30, and following the board meeting, the annual general meeting of the SPCA will happen at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be at Beachcombers. On June 2nd, there's an accessibility committee meeting, and perhaps I'm mistaken, but I thought on June 3rd we were having a planning and development meeting. That's the first Wednesday. It's the first Tuesday, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I have 3:15. Did you say 2:15? Yeah. Okay, any other meetings? If not, then one of my favorite parts of the evening, is Councillor Dubanow.
My favorite too, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott. That council adjourns at 8:19 PM to reconvene into a regular meeting of council on June 22nd, 2026.
All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.